Older midfielders are Ndidi and Sumare with Lukman.
Well, it's a very warm welcome and thank you for joining me on this independent off-tube studio commentary. It's the Europa League clash from the King Power Stadium in Group C as Leicester City take on Legia Warsaw. A bit of a false start in the game as the Legia players didn't realise they were supposed to take the knee and they just kicked off straight away. But we have now started and Legia are straight away on the attack. And it's Bartosz Ślisz at the edge of the area, a quick strike from the edge of the area straight down the middle, though an easy save for Kasper Schmeichel in the end. That was after Leicester City went straight up the other end from the kickoff. That's after Legia lost the ball following that quick kickoff, and then the visitors able to go on a quick attack themselves, but the strike from Ślisz causing Schmeichel no problems. Well, this is a vital game for both teams, really, when you consider that Leicester City start the evening in last place in the group. And they need to get all 3 points against Legia, a team who made a couple of surprising results at the very start of this Europa League campaign. They beat Leicester City at home. They beat Spartak Moscow away in the first couple of games of this group, but since then everything's gone wrong for the Polish champions, domestically especially, where they've lost 7 games in a row. That hasn't happened for Legia since the 1930s. They changed their manager in the last few weeks as well, and a lot of the fans and the players are supposedly not to be too happy with Marek Gołębiewski, the new manager. So it could be the sort of game that Leicester City need, who themselves are struggling. 4 games without a win going into the game this evening. And it's a good run from Luke Thomas now down the left-hand side. The ball deflects out for a corner. First set piece of the game. It's going to be a corner kick to Leicester City on the left-hand side. James Maddison standing over this one. I'll just remind you of the 2-11s very quickly once we've seen this set piece. But plenty of players in the box here for James Maddison to aim for. The defenders have tried to flood that 6-yard box to stop any runs into the penalty area, but it's going to be Maddison now whipping this in from the left-hand side, puts a bit of height on it, headed away by Emreli, kept alive here by Amate on the right-hand side, goes back towards Sumare, his cross into the box is headed away by Vietescu. It now drops towards Luke Thomas, left-hand edge of the penalty area, now leaves it for Maddison. Thought about the shot, does one dummy, another dummy, then he does go for goal, but it's an effort over the bar from James Maddison. So the Leicester City 11 this evening, Kasper Schmeichel is in goal. It's a back four of Timothy Castagna, Aglar Sionchu, Johnny Evans and Luke Thomas. Bubakari Sumare and Wilfred Ndidi are the 2 holder midfielders, with Adamola Lukman, James Maddison and Harvey Barnes as the attacking 3, playing behind Patson Daka. And for Legia Warsaw, Cezary Mishta is in goal with the back 3 of Matthias Johansson, Mateusz Wieteska and Artur Jędrzejczyk. The 4 across the middle are Yuri Rebro, Andre Martins, Bartosz Ślisz and Filip Mladenovic, with Ernest Muki, Laquinas and Mahir Emreli as the 3 up front. Legia, as I mentioned, in terrible form in their domestic league. They're in the bottom 3, and the last time they lost 7 games in a row in the Polish league was back in the mid-1930s, and they actually got relegated that time as well. So a bit of a really sticky situation here for Legia in their domestic campaign. Potentially this game could end up being a sort of distraction for them, but the way they've been playing in the Polish league games recently, you really feel as though this is a game that Leicester City should win. It's more Leicester's to lose, really, but if they give the ball away too easily, there are a couple of tricky players in this Legia team. Laquinas, the Brazilian, playing on the left-hand side of attack, he's very good. Emreli as well has made a bit of an impact. Although, as I say, it's been a tough season for Legia, and they'll be looking to try, and they certainly need to try and improve their league form. Can't really imagine a team like Legia also getting relegated in Polish football. They're always there or thereabouts in the top 3, really. But 4 minutes in at the King Power Stadium, it is goalless, and barring that one quick counter-attack from the visitors, it's all Leicester City in possession. It's Sionchu now with a long ball over the top. It's a good ball as well to pick out Maddison. He dances away from 2 players. He has to now lay the ball off back towards Ndidi. That's a poor ball from Ndidi. That's picked off straight away by Muki. But all he can do is get the ball up towards the halfway line. And it's Leicester City now back in possession. Over on the right-hand side with Lukman. Back in now towards Ndidi. And Amate playing it back towards Kasper Schmeichel. A couple of changes from the regular Premier League 11 for Leicester City this evening, but it's still a very, very strong team, and all the players that perhaps wouldn't be starting, I should say that the players that normally would be starting in a Premier League game are on the bench. Or Brighton's on the bench, Iheanacho's on the bench, Vardy's on the bench. But there are options here for Leicester City in terms of trying to really put pressure on the visitors. over the top for Daka. To the ball, just a little bit too long for him. Just to confirm as well that Daniel Amate does start for Leicester City this evening. Originally published it was that it was going to be Johnny Evans starting, potentially an injury there in the warm-up for Johnny Evans. So it is Daniel Amate in that back four. And the ball now going all the way back towards Kasper Schmeichel. The Legia Warsaw bench is actually short by 2 or 3 players from what you are allowed to have in a UEFA match. So it does look as though there are a couple of injuries. For example, veteran goalkeeper Artur Boruc is missing this evening, which is why YTS Cezary Mishta gets the start this evening, and he might be tested here as Maddison cuts in from the left-hand side, leaves the ball now for Barnes. Barnes with the strike, and it's Mishta with the save, making only his 12th start for Legia this evening. 20-year-old. And on this occasion, it's Vieteska stood just in front of him that heads it away for a corner. Corner kick to Leicester on the left-hand side now. Maddison waiting to whip this in. He's got players to aim for inside the box. He takes it short, though. It's now with Sumare. Back to Maddison, who tries to cut that one across the 6-yard box. It's quickly swept away by Muki. For a throw to Leicester down the left-hand side. Thomas back over towards Daka. Daka trying to get a ball into the penalty area. He's got 2 or 3 options here. Sumare now into Luke Thomas. Thomas trying to play a quick 1-2 there with Barnes, and the ball eventually going out for a throw to Legia. It has been given as a throw to the visitors. Make you wonder how Legia are actually planning to approach this game. They've got quite a defensive midfield, really. Mladenovic is a left-back by trade. Schliess and Martins are only really defensive midfielders, and Rebro is more of a right-back. So pretty much there's no sort of out-and-out creative central midfielder in that Legia team this evening. But just as I say that, the visitors do lose possession. Martins robbed of the ball by Sumare. It's now with Lukman on the right-hand edge of the penalty area. Back to Aboubakari Sumare. Under pressure here from Martins. Just having to hold the ball up. Goes back towards the edge of the area here for Ndidi. Ndidi tries to clip a ball into the box. It's missed by Ribeiro on the right-hand side. Barnes now sweeps up here for Leicester. Puts across into the 6-yard box, which is too high for Patson Daka. And Andre Martins, in the end, just shepherds that one out to make sure it is out for a goal kick to Legia Warsaw. So say about some earlier games. West Ham winning away at Rapid Vienna this evening. 2-0. Both goals coming in the first half. Late in the first half, Yarmolenko and then Noble from the penalty spot, making it 2-0 to West Ham. Spurs, well, they haven't exactly made a grand start under new manager Antonio Conte, losing 2-1 to Mura this evening. Ryan Sessegnon picking up 2 bookings before half-time as well, as Spurs went in 1-0 down at half-time before Kane got what seemed like a late equaliser for Spurs on 72 minutes, but then Marossa in the 4th minute of added time at the end of the game, winning the game there for Mura. Vieteska now trying to shepherd Daka away from the ball, and in the end it was Daka who was adjudged to have committed the foul. You can argue that Vieteska was doing what he could to try and stop the Leicester City man as well. It's a long clearance now, goes out for a throw to Leicester down the left-hand side. Thomas going back towards the Sionchu. It's now with Amate, and this is potentially going to be the pattern of the game throughout the 90 minutes this evening. The Legia are going to be sat back trying to soak up Leicester City pressure. I've got a couple of quick players in Emreli and Lakinas to try and hit Leicester on the counter, but you just don't see where Legia are going to get this possession from, as Ndidi now goes square towards Sumare. Just about got there before Laquinas, and then Laquinas brings down Timothy Castagna. Easy decision there for Dennis Aitekin, our German referee. And Ndidi now taking this free kick short to Sumare. Couple of options here for Sumare. Wanted to go long towards Harvey Barnes. Gives the ball away here to Emreli, but then a bit of miscommunication between him and Muki, and let Legia lose the ball straight away. Thomas out towards Barnes on the left-hand side. Barnes cutting in onto his right foot. Can't quite get the shot away, but the ball trickles through towards Patson Daka. And Leicester City take the lead on 10 minutes. Little bit of confusion at the edge of the area. It was Harvey Barnes trying to find the space. As he was being challenged, the ball threaded through perfectly for Daka, and it's a very confident finish from the Leicester City forward, who's enjoyed some really good goal-scoring form in this competition. Of course, scored 4 goals in that amazing win for Leicester City away at Spartak earlier in the season. But it's a good run here from Harvey Barnes. Picks the ball up in midfield. Gets it on the left-hand side, cuts in on his right foot, and he's looking to try and get a shot away. He actually deflects the ball off Schliess, and it works out like a perfect through ball towards Patson Daka, and he makes no mistake from there. Just one touch, and then just a quick stroke with the left foot past the goalkeeper and into the back of the net. So it's just the start that Leicester City wanted. It's just the start that Leicester City have been working for when you think they really have been on the front foot since the very first minute of this game. And Brendan Rodgers, more relieved than happy to see that one go in. He knows he's under a lot of pressure this season, with Leicester not quite delivering the sort of form. It was a very tough month of October for Leicester, which started off so well with that win against Manchester United, then that win against Spartak, then that win against Brentford. But then towards the end of the month and into November, things going wrong with that defeat at home to Arsenal, then that draw against Spartak. I did commentary of that game. Leicester weren't good on that evening. Struggled a little bit in the second half. Then that 1-1 draw against Leeds before the international break. And then that 3-0 reverse against Chelsea last time out. But the group has completely changed now with Leicester taking the lead. They now jump into first place on 8 points, with Spartak and Napoli on 7, Legia still on 6. So all of a sudden that goal for Leicester could prove to be very, very significant indeed. Just looking at you can see the Legia fans trying to generate a bit of support. Sure that some of these supporters will be UK based as well, but they won't have much to cheer about so far. Not had too much to cheer about this season, really. Been a tough season for the Polish champions, and they're struggling to get anywhere near the ball in this game so far, as Sionchu clears it long now down the left-hand side for Leicester. Daka is chasing this one. He has been well marshalled there by Vieteska, and the ball goes out for a throw to Leicester City down the left-hand side. Still relatively far away from the penalty area, but still close enough that they can try and back to Harvey Barnes, who's under pressure there from Vieteska. Tries to play a 1-2 with Daka, but that's good work initially there from Johansson to try and win the ball. He does a little step over there to get away from Daka. Looked like it was nailed on. He was going to give away a corner kick there, but Legia do play out from the back. It's a little bit better now from the Polish side, but the pass towards Lakinas is just a little bit under hit. And then the ball goes out for a throw down the right-hand side. The other game in this group, of course, was played yesterday with Spartak Moscow beating Napoli 2-1. Which it's been a very, very tough group to call, because every time it seems like one team's getting a little bit of a lead, then they have a surprise defeat and everything starts to reverse. And as I say, Leicester City started this evening in last place. If this result stays the same, bearing in mind what happened yesterday, Leicester will finish the evening in first place with just one more round of games to go after this evening. And that will be in 2 weeks' time, when Legia Warsaw play at home to Spartak, and Napoli host Leicester City in the final 6th game week of this group. But here come Legia now down the left-hand side with Laquinas. He felt as though he was being fouled there by Ndidi. Quick look towards the referee. Dennis Aytekin not interested. Leicester City now back in possession here with Luke Thomas down the left-hand side. And closed down by Muki. Goes across to Harvey Barnes. Barnes back to Thomas. And the ball played back towards the edge of the area. Here is Kasper Schmeichel now. Looking like he might have a pretty quiet evening here. Certainly based on these first 15 minutes. He's had virtually nothing to do apart from that one strike from Schliess from the edge of the area, and that was in the first minute. Nothing happening in front of Schmeichel's goal since then, as Castagna brings the ball forward down the right-hand side for Leicester. Goes back towards Marte. Now it's with Wilfred Ndidi. Ndidi looks up, plays it square towards Soumare. Soumare finds Castagna, who got a bit further forward this time. He runs straight into Legia captain Jędrzejczyk, and then there's a bit of a foul in midfield. I think this is going to go the way of the visitors, as Maddison and Laquinas both going for the ball, but it was the Leicester City number 10 that was adjudged to have committed the foul. So a free kick taken short here. Martins going back towards Jędrzejczyk. Martins now to Ślisz. Exchanging passes, but this is still deep inside their own half, so Leicester City won't worry about this too much. And there's actually 5-6 Leicester City players pressing inside the Legia half, and it pays off because Castagna now wins the ball back for Leicester. And Ndidi then back to Sionchu. Ndidi playing this one back again towards Mate, as the visitors once again sitting back deep here as Soumare goes forward. Threads that ball through towards Lookman. Daka hits the deck. Referee, again, not interested. Referees have all been told to allow a little bit more contact, and by and large, that is the case. But now a chance here for Legia on the counter as Mladenovic puts an early ball into the box. It's just a little bit too high for Emreli. He has to hold the ball up and go back towards the edge of the area here for Muki. Muki then finding Johansson, who's joined this attack. And then Ślisz switching play over towards the left-hand side. Here is a chance now for Mladenovic to get this ball into the box, and Mate there puts the challenge in on Laquinas, and that has gone out for I think it's going to be given as a corner kick. Finally a little bit more attacking possession here from the visitors. As Laquinas gets there, it was definitely put out by Mate. His was the final touch before it went out for a corner. You can see Legia haven't really got anybody in the box. They've got a lot of players lurking at the edge of the area. Now they're starting to fill up the penalty area here. Vieteska and Emreli and Ślisz waiting at the edge of the 6-yard box. 2 or 3 players waiting a little bit deeper inside the penalty area. 5 Leicester City players are flooding the 6-yard box as Kasper Schmeichel barking out instructions to his players as well. 2 Legia players stood over it, but it's going to be a right-footed in-swinger from Martins, headed up in the air by Mate. Second ball drops to Ślisz, but he can't quite get a shot away. And then Soumare plays the ball out towards Harvey Barnes, who tries to take on Johansson for pace. Can't quite do it, and Yuri Ribeiro was back there covering for Legia. Visitors have the ball back now in midfield with Ślisz going back towards Jędrzejczyk. Over towards Martins on the left-hand side. Back inside now towards Yuri Ribeiro. Ball back with Artur Jędrzejczyk as the visitors now. This is probably the longest spell of possession the Legia have enjoyed in the match so far, and it's the least they can do really just to try and stop this very good start that Leicester City have had. Legia, I think, just a little bit too defensive to start the game. Just put Leicester City on the front for straight away, an early goal as well from Patson Daka. But here come the visitors again now with Yuri Ribeiro down the left-hand side, trodden on there by Boubakary Soumare, and this time the referee, who's let a lot go already in this game, Dennis Aytekin. On this occasion he feels as though just a little bit too much contact there from Boubakary Soumare, and Ribeiro just had his heel trodden on there, and he is going to just need a moment or two here, Ribeiro, to pick himself up, but he should be okay to play on. It is going to be a free kick to Legia. It's probably just about within shooting range. Left-footed Mladenovic standing over this one, as is right-footed Martins, but it looks as though Martins is going to be laying this one off for Filip Mladenovic. And Leicester City sets up at the edge of the area with the offside line. Referee now signalling for the free kick to be taken. It's Mladenovic's left-footed ball. It's just over the head of Emreli. That was a good chance there. Vieteska was up there as well. I think it was actually the centre-back Vieteska that gets closest to this one. It's just over his head. Maybe he could have just perhaps timed his jump a little better. Very close to making contact with that one, but it's out for a goal kick, which Schmeichel has taken short. Sionchu now to Ndidi, back towards Daniel Amate. And he goes back towards Kasper Schmeichel again. Over towards the left-hand side now for Sionchu, being closed down by Emreli. Gets to the halfway line, finds Ademola Lookman. Lookman dancing away from Mladenovic and spots Harvey Barnes down the left-hand side. Barnes heading towards the edge of the penalty area. Takes on his man for pace, gets that ball into the 6-yard box. It just gets away from Lookman. It's Maddison with the strike, which is blocked. A second effort from Soumare is also blocked, and that is out for a throw to Leicester City down the right-hand side. But it was a quick counter from Leicester after Legia enjoyed a bit of possession. Now Castagna with the throw down the right-hand side. Belgian international gets this one in towards Lookman. Back towards Soumare. There is Castagna again. Soumare in towards Maddison, and here's Lookman into the penalty area. 2 players blocking him, but he finds a pass into Maddison. Maddison takes a touch, wants to strike it with the left foot, and it's a great strike from James Maddison. He just has too much time, and even though he's very much more right-footed, you give a player of his quality that sort of space in the box, and he is going to try his luck with the left foot. Makes it 2-0 here to Leicester City on 21 minutes. Just the response that Leicester needed after that good little spell of possession from Legia, where they finally started to see a little bit of the ball in the opposition half. But now a second goal conceded, and this is potentially going to be a long evening that some Legia fans were fearing. Lookman broke into the box. Maddison wanted to shoot, couldn't quite find the space on his right, cuts it on his left, and you have to say it's a fabulous strike from Maddison, although I'm not sure he'd be able to score a goal like that in the Premier League. I don't think he'd get that much time to take a touch, do a dummy onto his right, then onto his left, and have that much space to get a shot away as well. It's poor defending from Legia, really, after the visitors had worked so hard to at least get a bit of a foothold in the game in terms of possession. But now, having conceded a second goal, it's looking a little bit ominous here for the Polish champions. So again, we see Maddison really gets a lot of power into that left-footed strike. So 21 minutes gone. Independent off-tube studio commentary. Game at the King Power Stadium in Group C of the Europa League. Leicester City leading against Legia Warsaw by 2-0. But Legia now on the attack, responding straight away here with Mladenovic. He breaks into the box, gets closed down by Castagna. And now Soumare back at the edge of the own box here, tussling with Yuri Rebro. And that goes out for a goal kick, I think, in the end. It comes off the Legia number 5. Maddison, that's his first goal in 4 Europa League games this season. Player who, of course, is hugely talented. I'm a big fan of James Maddison. The issue with him, I think, is consistency. He has had some injury problems as well over the past couple of years. There's certainly no denying how good he is on the ball, his vision, his assists when he is in form. And potentially this sort of game at home against a team that really are on their really are struggling at the moment. Legia, to say their last game at the weekend, they found themselves 2-0 down inside the first half an hour. In fact, Lukas Podolski, the veteran, now playing out his final years at his hometown club in Zabrze, he was on the score sheet against Legia that evening as well. Legia then worked very hard to get it back to 2-2 in the second half before losing the game late on anyway. Also suffered a couple of very disappointing home defeats in the league recently against teams who really shouldn't be getting anywhere near them. So this is potentially a continuation of that. Leicester City have gone on the attack now down the left. The ball deflects out for a corner. Chance now from the set piece, and it's Maddison standing over it for Leicester City. Just waiting to see where his teammates are positioned inside the penalty area. You can see Amarte and Sionchu just lurking at the edge of the 6-yard box. Barnes and Ndidi there as well. Patson Daka is right on the line, trying to do what he can to restrict the goalkeeper. Maddison whips this ball in, plenty of height as well. It's headed down inside the 6-yard box. It was Amarte with the header, but then Mishta dives out and makes the save. Mishta now rolls this one out towards the right-hand side. Just taken on now by Vieteska. To Schliess. Schliess rolls this forward. Quick one-touch move there between Muki and Emreli. Muki gets to the edge of the area, gets away from Thomas. And I think that Thomas puts that challenge in, doesn't deflect back off Ernest Muki. So the Albanian international has won the corner kick there for Legia. And players stacking up inside the penalty area now. So vital that if Legia still want to make a game of it here, they've got to try and get a goal back. They can't afford to concede a third, really. Need to put themselves on the score sheet as Vieteska and Daka tussling at the edge of the 6-yard box. Jędrzejczyk is in there as well. It's whipped in by Mladenovic. It's a good header away by Luke Thomas. Drops to Laquinas at the edge of the area. Plays it short to Muki. Muki being stood up here by Harvey Barnes, going back towards the halfway line here for Rebro. Rebro then goes on the overlap, gets the ball back from Laquinas, breaks into the penalty area, cuts it back to the edge of the 6-yard box. They're appealing a handball at the Legia players, and Dennis Aytekin is in absolutely no doubt whatsoever. The German referee points to the spot, and on 25 minutes, Legia Warsaw have a way back into this game. We'll see from the replay whether it was as obvious as the reaction of the referee. Oh, yeah, Wilfred Ndidi has got his hand up. There is a slight deflection in front of him, which might just save him, but the fact is that where his hand is, I think it's going to be very difficult for VAR to say it's not a handball. It makes a big contact with his hand, and it does stop the ball getting to the Legia player inside the penalty area. I do think the VAR will still check this, though, just to see whether or not you could argue that it was an unavoidable deflection into Ndidi, but the fact that his arm is where it is, I think it was always going to be difficult for the referee to say it's not a penalty. So Kasper Schmeichel on his line, just being told by the referee to make sure that he stays on his line as well. And it is going to be Mahir Emreli from the spot. Emreli sends it down the middle. Schmeichel makes the save, but Mladenovic on the rebound tucks the ball into the back of the net. He's got himself a bit of an injury as he scores, but Legia Warsaw are on the score sheet here on 26 minutes with that goal from Filip Mladenovic. As Marek Gołębiewski, now the manager, trying to get some instructions out to his players as well. Well, I don't think this penalty is going to be retaken, because the only the infringement I can see from the replay is Kasper Schmeichel is about a yard off his line. Nobody was really in the box as Emreli was coming up to strike the ball. So it was a very poor penalty, by the way. He hits it almost down the middle, just slightly to the goalkeeper's left. Good save there from Schmeichel. Well, good save in so much as he stopped the ball, but then he couldn't quite jump onto the rebound in time. I must admit, seeing that replay of the handball incident again, I can see why Leicester would feel a little bit sickened that it's been given, but then it's just, I think it's the amount of contact there is. If it had just grazed, say, the knuckle or the finger of Ndidi, then you might say it was accidental, but the fact that the ball literally is stopped by his hand after a quick flick of a header from Saglar Sionchu, I think it'd be very difficult for the referee to say it's not a handball. So I think possibly, although slightly frustrating, it would have been the correct decision. And Leicester City now pegged back to 2-1 with that goal from Mahir Emreli, who's been trying to get himself a more regular starting place in this Legia team. He's actually keeping out Thomas Pekar, the Czech striker who scored a hatful of goals for Legia last season. Pekar is on the bench this evening, 32-year-old. We'll see whether or not he makes an appearance. He scored 22 domestic goals for Legia last season. But him and Emreli have got 4 goals between. We can see now Brendan Rodgers. That's very unusual. Brendan Rodgers very animated there with the 4th official. Having a real go there at Martin Pettersson. It's an all-German refereeing team in this game this evening. And certainly he was not happy at all there, Brendan Rodgers. I'm not sure if that was for the last offside decision or potentially whether he was still talking about the penalty, but that's a poor challenge there over on the right-hand side. Harvey Barnes is caught. And I'm thinking, could this be the first booking of the evening? Looks like Johansson has just about got away with it. But really, this is a time now when Leicester City have got to try and do what they can to reassert that dominance they had in the first 20 minutes of this game. This free kick now presents a good opportunity here for the home side. Soumare has quite deliberately wandered into an offside position just to try and distract that defence. It's left-footed Thomas and right-footed Maddison standing over this one. The ball is over on the left-hand side. It's either going to be an out-swinger from Thomas or an in-swinger from Maddison. It's a quick free kick from Maddison. The idea was to try and play it down the channel for Patson Daka, but just a little bit too close to the goalkeeper. Mishta comes out and makes a comfortable save. He bowls this out towards Filip Mladenovic, who's got options ahead of him. Plays it into Laquinas. Laquinas to Yuri Ribeiro. Laquinas again. Brazilian now threads that ball through towards Ribeiro. And Ribeiro now finds some space here for Johansson. Johansson then over towards the right-hand side. A strike comes in. It's blocked at the edge of the 6-yard box. A second effort. That's a very tame effort, though, from Yuri Ribeiro. But straight away you can see that Leicester City are just that little bit more tentative when Legia are on the ball. And straight away we can see that Legia got that little bit more confidence. But what a great kick out that is from Kasper Schmeichel to pick out Ademola Lookman. He then finds Maddison charging into the box. Maddison plays that ball across the 6-yard box looking for Patson Daka. Good covering header there from Mateusz Wieteska, and he then rolls the ball out towards Emreli, and Legia can now try and play out from the back. Here is Schlisch over towards Ribeiro. Ribeiro brings the ball forward. He's got a couple of options ahead of him. One of them is Filip Mladenovic, edge of the penalty area, gets away from Castagna, tries a right-footed effort. Fingertips there from Kasper Schmeichel, where it might have even been a slight deflection off Daniel Amate. In any case, it is out for a corner kick to Legia Warsaw. And yeah, I think it's probably just a flick off Daniel Amate that takes this out for a corner. Mladenovic has got an excellent left foot. Don't really see him score too many with his right. But on this occasion, he fancied a go, and it wasn't too far away at all. Legia have themselves a corner kick, 31 minutes gone. Independent off-tube studio commentary from the game at the King Power Stadium, where Leicester City lead against Legia Warsaw by 2-1. Andre Martins and Filip Mladenovic are standing over this one for Legia. Referee just asking for a bit of order inside the penalty area. I think he's just not letting Legia take this corner kick because of all the pushing and shoving. Sumare marking Jędrzejczyk. And the referee is taking too long. Why do referees do this? I mean, players are going to push and shove each other as soon as the referee walks away anyway. Corner kick is taken short, back towards Ribeiro. He then plays it in towards the penalty, headed up in the air by Wieteska. Jędrzejczyk chases that one, but Schmeichel comfortably gets there first. And he's able to just slow things down for Leicester City now. Rogers there, just acting as ball boy, quickly getting the ball back for one of his players, Luke Thomas to be specific. His throw towards Daka, and that's played on by Harvey Barnes. He does really well, gets into the penalty area, tries to play it early for Lookman. That's good play though from Jędrzejczyk. Legia captain comes across and deflects that out for a corner. Looks as though the veteran has injured himself a little bit there as he's put that challenge in as well. Just been caught on the... well, not really sure how he's got injured there, Jędrzejczyk, but he seems to be in a bit of pain. It's a corner kick now to Legia on the left-hand side. Maddison waiting to take this one. So, plenty of options inside the penalty area as well. Just waiting to see where his teammates are. It's whipped in by Maddison, plenty of height, and it's in the back of the net. Wilfred Ndidi with a real bullet header, beating the goalkeeper to it. We don't see enough corner kicks like that these days in the Premier League. Just the ball whipped in right into the 6-yard box. That area of uncertainty between the goalkeeper and defenders. Get one brave player to jump in with a header. And Wilfred Ndidi absolutely fits that bill when on 33 minutes Leicester City restore their 2-goal lead. They lead 3-1 against Legia Warsaw now. And it really was a very good free kick from James Maddison. But as much as I say that Wilfred Ndidi beats Mishta to the ball, Mishta made 2 steps to the ball and virtually didn't jump. And nobody is marking Wilfred Ndidi. He is pretty much stood right in the middle of the 6-yard box, just a couple of yards away from the goal when that ball comes in. What on earth is the captain Jędrzejczyk doing there? He's actually ducking out the way to help his goalkeeper find some space to go after the ball rather than trying to head it out himself as the most experienced defender. It's pretty shambolic defending from the visitors, really. And Leicester City lead by 3-1. And for all the improvement that Legia have shown in patches here in this first half, has to say that their defence is still far too leaky, and they lose the ball almost immediately from the kickoff. Leicester City on the attack now as Maddison goes down. The referee played an advantage. Maddison wanted a free kick, but the referee decided the advantage has gone on for long enough, and now Legia can break out here with the ball out towards the right-hand side. Here is Ernest Muki. His pass to Martins is behind him, and Legia lose possession. And they give a free kick away as well, as Maddison is brought down by a couple of players there, really. If it wasn't Martins, and it was Lequinas, combination of the two of them committing a foul there. Wilfred Ndidi, this is his 3rd game in the Europa League this season. It's his 1st goal. Big goal as well, that, just to try and put Leicester City in a more comfortable position. They've looked pretty much solid throughout this game, really. But it would have been a bit... I think it would have just frustrated Brendan Rodgers if the game had stayed at 2-1 to half-time, but Leicester City looking to increase their lead ever further as Barnes gets down the left-hand side. He gets stopped on the line by Matthias Johansson. It's out for a corner kick. Just 4 Polish players in the starting 11 this evening for Legia. It's a sign of the times across Polish football. There would have been a time where just having a couple of foreign players would have been seen as quite different, whereas now, of course, things are very different, and this Legia team, which looked pretty strong last season, has just really disintegrated over the last couple of months, and we're seeing signs of why they're in so much trouble in this game as well. It's just a complete lack of organisation in defence, and a very shallow midfield as well, it has to be said. But it's a corner kick to Leicester City from the left-hand side. Maddison's ball in, headed away at the edge of the 6-yard box. There's going to be a free kick coming in there for Legia as well. So Laquinas was pushed over there by Luke Thomas. Free kick now to Legia. Chance now for the visitors to at least briefly try and slow things down to see if they can't potentially get a second goal back here before half time. I mentioned it's a strong bench for Leicester. I'll just go through the entire bench there. It's all Brighton, it's Bertrand, Chowdhury, Wanyama, Kal, Ichancho, Vardy, the young Polish players Stolarczyk, Amarte, Perez, Dewsbury Hall, Vestergaard, and goalkeeper Dan Ward. So it really is a very strong bench for Leicester City, sprinkled in with a couple of younger players as well. As for the Legia bench, as I say, it's a much shorter bench than Leicester's, but they have Tobias, the goalkeeper. As well as that, they have Rose, Wodarczyk, Czekhala, Czepieła, Hołownia, Pekat, and Skibitsky. Pekat is the main threat there on that Legia bench. But as I say, the Czech international hasn't been anywhere near in the same form that he was last season. Getting over 20 goals in Polish domestic football last season, has managed just 2 so far this campaign, although he has been playing more on the bench as they have been trying to get Mahir Emreli, the Azerbaijan international, more into the team. Here is Filip Mladenovic now. Serbian going down the left-hand side, running straight into Lukman and being fouled by Lukman. Bit of a look of surprise there from the Leicester City man, but it is a free kick to Legia. Still a long way from the Leicester City goal, and it's Bartosz Ślisz takes it short, goes out towards Ribeiro. Ribeiro's ball into the box, looking for Emreli. Emreli, well, he doesn't quite get the head onto it that he wanted, and the ball in the end just falling into the hands of Kasper Schmeichel. No problem for the Leicester goalkeeper on this occasion. It's had very little to do really, other than that penalty, that strike from Mladenovic, which went close to his near post, and a couple of set pieces. But other than that, it really has been pretty straightforward for the Leicester City goalkeeper, as it has for the Leicester City defenders. We've got around 7 minutes before we hit injury time in this first half. And looking at the scores elsewhere, I'll just see, because Legia are playing out from the back. Potentially there could be a counter-attack here for the visitors. It's a good ball from Andre Martins out towards the left-hand side, picked up here by Mladenovic. He has options. His cross gets a slight deflection. It gets away from Thomas. Muki is appealing that it should be a corner kick, and the referee, I think, is just given a goal kick, and Mladenovic is furious about this. I'm not sure if, well, to me it certainly gets a flick off Castagna. But in the end, it has just been given as a goal kick. And potentially Mladenovic, has he been booked there as well? Because it looks as though the referee was not pleased with his rant there, but I think he's got away with it. Just a warning there. No, he has been booked. Filip Mladenovic has got a yellow card. So a yellow card for dissent. The collector's item these days. Don't see that too often. Referees... Although we've seen this, I did see a player getting booked in one of the Tuesday Champions League games, in the game between Barca and Benfica, game which will not live long in the memory, that's for sure. But generally, referees seem to be tolerating that little bit more dissent these days. At other times, they seem to just really clamp down on it, but don't see too many bookings for players being outspoken towards the referee. So in a way, it's good to see that the referees can still use that little bit of control to try and get players in order on the field. James Maddison now square to Wilfred Ndidi. Here is Amarte over towards Castagna on the right hand side. Castagna back to Soumare, and Amarte inside to Soumare. The visitors here trying to press, and there's actually 4 Legia players inside the Leicester City half trying to win the ball back, but Amarte despite being under a little bit of pressure. Rolls this back to Schmeichel, and the home side once again can play out from the back here with Kaglar Sionchu. Leicester City's next game, it's at home to Watford at the weekend. One of 4 games being played at 2 p.m. on Sunday. Very busy Sunday afternoon. They then play away at Southampton in the midweek games. There's a full round of Premier League fixtures next midweek. That's when they play away at Southampton. They follow that up with a game away at Aston Villa before that final group game in this Europa League campaign, playing away at Napoli. That will be on the 9th of December, before we go into that ridiculously busy Christmas period as we have here in England. As far as Legia are concerned, they're playing against Jagiellonia Białystok at the weekend, and then they've got a cup match against Motor Lublin, a game away to Cracovia in the Polish League before that game at home to Spartak Moscow. And with the way the group is, there'll still be something to play for the teams as we go into that final round. But Legia will be disappointed having started the group so well with that win away at Spartak, the win at home to Leicester. I must admit, I didn't see the game when Legia beat Leicester in Warsaw, but even just hearing the result, I thought, well, Leicester must have had a really off night, because Legia have been playing poorly in the domestic league since the start of the season, really. So that to me already was a bit of a freak result that Legia managed to beat Leicester. As it turns out, Leicester themselves have gone on a bit of a bad run in the last month or so. But here come Legia now with Laquinas rolling a ball into the penalty area, and Muki is there, tries to find Mladenovic inside the 6-yard box. It's swept away. A follow-up effort there from Laquinas, gets a big deflection, and the ball is out for a corner kick. Well, Leicester City, who've looked so assured at times in this first half, just going to pieces a little bit in defence. Daniel Amate should never have allowed Muki to get there ahead of him. Muki then tried to play it square to Mladenovic, and he couldn't quite get there before the clearance. And then the effort from Laquinas from the edge of the area never looked like going on target after that big deflection. But it is a corner kick now to Legia on the right-hand side, and it is going to be a left-footed in-swinger from Filip Mladenovic. The 6-yard box has got about 10 players in it. Mladenovic's ball flicked on, heading towards goal, headed away by Castagna. Then an attempted overhead kick there from Maddison doesn't quite work out. Legia have the ball back now down the right-hand side. Mladenovic back heeling this towards Andre Martins. Martins hits the deck, and he wasn't fouled. He gets up, hits the deck a second time, and this time the referee and the linesman both agree that he was fouled, so it will be a free kick to Legia. Seeing this again, that header from Castagna away at the far post, I should say. I'm not sure if that was actually heading on target. Could have been just heading wide, but with that heading towards goal, I'm not sure that Castagna really wanted to take that risk, just needed to make sure he got his head on it. This is a good opportunity for Legia, this free kick over on the right-hand side. Options in the box here for the visitors. And we can see here now. So once again, the tactic from Legia is to try and get as many players into that 6-yard box. Leicester have now tried to set a bit of an offside trap just at the edge of the 6-yard box, as Mladenovic and Andre Martins are stood over this one, a left foot and a right footed option. We've got about 90 seconds of regulation play still to go in this first half at the King Power Stadium. It's Mladenovic, that is a wretched effort. I think he was trying to shoot for goal, just gets underneath it and makes a complete mess of that one. And Marek Gołębiewski there, the Legia manager, he won't be too impressed with this. I think he'll be a little bit happier with what he's seen in the last 15-20 minutes, barring that third goal that Leicester have scored. Legia have certainly come out of their shell a little bit more, actually put a bit of pressure on this Leicester City defence, which still looks a little bit vulnerable. The way that Leicester have played in the last 4 or 5 games in the Premier League means that even though Legia aren't the strongest team, they can still find a few holes to try and exploit here. Here come the Leicester now, though, with Ademola Lookman out towards Castagna on the right-hand side, inside towards Soumare. Runs straight into Schliess, who's worried about losing that one and potentially conceding a counter-attack, so he just heads it out for a throw. Castagna then throws it in towards Ndidi. He plays it square towards Maddison. Outside of the boot pass now towards Harvey Barnes. Left-hand edge of the penalty area. Barnes breaks into the box, cuts it back for Daka, who just stumbled as he tried to shoot and missed, kicks that completely. Ball now cleared up towards the halfway line. Sionchu plays this forward, but it's been won back now by Andre Martins, who hits the deck, and he was fouled by Harvey Barnes. That's what the referee felt. And this run from Barnes just a moment ago certainly had the legs to easily beat Johansson for pace. And then as he cuts it back for Daka, it might have just, well, I was trying to find an excuse for Patson Daka to say that maybe the pass was just a little bit behind him, maybe it bobbled just in front of him, but really doesn't quite get the contact on the ball that he wanted there. Patson Daka. We're into injury time now then at the King Power Stadium. There's going to be 2 minutes of it, with 4 goals being scored. I think it's the least amount of injury time that we could have expected, really. We always lose more than 30 seconds every time a goal is scored anyway. As the long ball now reaches the edge of the Legia Warsaw penalty area. Mishta plays this to Arturian Jacek. Legia centre back. Square now towards Wieteska. Options here left and right for Wieteska. But Leicester have set up pretty solid on the halfway line. They're not going to let Legia play anything too easy out from the back, perhaps forcing the visitors to try and play a long ball over the top. At which point Leicester City should be able to scoop it up pretty easily. That's a clumsy challenge though from Boubakary Soumaré on the halfway line, bringing down Lequines, Brazilian, who's pretty much become very much who's very comfortable in Poland. There was a story about him recently about how he's felt really quite acclimatized to the Polish climate, the Polish cuisine. And his wife recently gave birth to their child as well. So whether or not he's going to be in Poland long term, that remains to be seen, of course. It has been a bit of a volatile time for Legia Warsaw, with the ownership coming under increasing criticism from the fans. Considering that Legia were the champions just a few months ago. Now they're staring down the barrel of a relegation fight, having already lost the manager that got them that championship win last season as well. So it's a difficult time for Legia, and it's been a difficult time for them in this first half as well, as the Polish champions trail against Leicester City here. Brendan Rodgers' side have played very well in this first half. There have been moments where they've allowed Legia to get back into the game, but overall goals from Daka, Maddison and Ndidi. That one goal from Mladenovic, the rebound after Emreli's penalty was saved. But Leicester lead against Legia by 3 goals to 1, and I'm back in 15 minutes for second half off-tube studio commentary.